Welcome back, guys. If you caught my last episode, you will already know by now that I'm in the middle of a total refit. That's why I've brought you in here while I'm having a coffee to give you this information, because there's nowhere to sit out there and it's an absolute mess. So while the layout changes are because we're not totally happy with the layout, it was fueled by something a little bit more sinister than that. The van is actually overweight. So I was 90% finished and I weighed it and then I stripped some out and then I weighed it again and it was overweight. So it was 3560 without all of our camping gear, empty of water, that kind of thing. And it's just been niggling at me the whole time, really. So I looked back through it, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I'm here again, because I built a trailer, a lightweight trailer, and the exact same thing happened. I built it, I almost finished, and I had to start again. So that video's up here, or up there. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. I don't know if it was me being naive. I mean, it's the first camper van that I've had. Since then, I've spoken to other YouTubers, ones that I know and ones that I just contact through social media, and more often than not, a lot of people's vans are overweight. And I never quite, from this point on, understood how people could have a long wheelbase Sprinter kitted out for 4 people and have a space in the back, like a garage, for like 2 motorbikes. And you know, they probably got away 100 kilos each, 125 kilos each, I guess, and all the tools and the gear that go with it. These vehicles must be overweight. They must be, because I'm looking at my simple design out there and I can't believe that I am, you know, that it is overweight. So although I have the build sheet to my vehicle, my actual vehicle, which includes all the glass, the motor in the sliding door, my actual vehicle, and it's left me a payload of 964 kilos. Now, I don't think that's a lot. I couldn't lift it, but I've had a T5 van, which I'm sure, a T32, I'm sure it had a payload of an equivalent of that. Now, that's a very small van. It's long wheelbase, mine is. Mid wheelbase, you get yourself another 250 kilos, something like that. And front wheel drive, you gain yourself another 70 kilos. It must be the drive shaft and all the mechanics to make it rear wheel drive. But my actual van has left me 964 kilos. And I've used all of that and more. So that's what's fueled the layout change, because I've quite kindly had loads of comments saying, I'm gutted for you. You know, I can't believe it, it's so nice, and it is so nice. It's not just the layout. The layout isn't as bad as I'm making out. I'm going to change the layout, which will allow me to shed some weight along the way. Every time I drove the van, I would worry that we're going to get pulled over. Not that the punishments are that crazy. So you've pretty much got a 5% leeway. So that'd be 175 kilos in a 3.5 ton van. Got 175 kilos, and the police don't have to punish you. Don't act a fool on the day. Don't annoy them. Don't be rude. Just be polite. Because if you're only a smidgen overweight, they might just send you on your way and say, get it sorted, do better. And that's the door. Between 5 and 10% overweight, which again is up to 350 kilos. That is up to £100 fine. Between 10 and 20%, it's a £200 fine. Between 20 and 30, £300 fine. Over 30%, you go into court because you are taking the mick. That's almost a ton overweight, so you are taking the mick there. So it's not the fine that necessarily worries me. It's being overweight enough that they want me to be the correct weight before I leave. And it's okay dropping water and things like that. But if you're overweight dry, just because you've got way too many kitchen units like I had, what can you do? You can't necessarily, without stripping the van out there and then at the side of the road. And I even heard one story on a forum where a guy emptied his van at the side of the road to get to the correct weight. And as he drove off, they stopped him again and fined him for littering. I think he was going to come back and collect it. I don't know. So yeah, it's not that so much. It's the being underweight before they let me go. Because if you're in the middle of nowhere, that's just impossible. So the odds of being pulled over for being overweight, there's only so many weigh bridges and things like that at the moment, are quite slim. You know, you've got to be pretty unlucky to be pulled over for being overweight, especially as my van doesn't look overweight. It looks the nuts. It looks like it's built to do it. It's not a puller by any stretch of the imagination. It's not sitting on the floor or anything. But the DVSA, with all these smart motorways that are being put in up and down the country, there's actually a new part to that smart motorway which can weigh you at 70 miles an hour. So a bit like an AMPR, you fly through it, the pad picks you up, camera straight away, V5 comes up, tells you the weight that it's supposed to be, and then the actual weight, and then you're pulled over just like you would be if you were speeding. So there's kind of no getting away with it. So at the moment, it's neither here or there. But if you've got a van that is severely overweight, you should probably start thinking about that. So you might think, Ada, mate, you're willing to drive your van overweight with your baby and your missus in the car. You know, that's a bit strong. Please don't message about the safety. I've looked right into that. My van is perfectly capable of 3.9 ton payload. There's a company called SV Tech that if the DVLA would recognise my van as a camper van, I could, like that, for 250 quid, get a piece of paper and a new plate made for the van, and it would be a 3.9 ton vehicle tomorrow. DVLA are not happy with doing that at the moment, so therefore it's probably not going to happen. You'd then have to make sure you've got the correct license, probably change your insurance. There's a knock-on effect, but what I'm getting at is they've done their rigorous tests, 10 grand's worth of crash dummy testing and brakes and suspension, that kind of thing, and they've proven that that van is a 3.9 ton vehicle. And I've got a funny feeling that there's a 4 ton version which is pretty much the same, but they downplate the 3.5 ton vehicles, so that, a bit like detuning the engines, it's the same engine but they detune it, so that anyone can drive it on any standard license. So the safety of it, I'm not concerned about whatsoever, so please don't give me a hard time about that. So, like I said, a couple of people, well, quite a lot of people actually, have reached out and they can't believe what I'm doing. It's not that I don't love messing around with vans, don't forget, so it's not the end of the world. The layout is going to be banging, it's going to be the right van, we're going to use it for a few years now. So I'm going to enjoy rectifying it and looking at all these different products, the products I probably should have used had I known what I was getting myself into. So I've got a lot of weight saving products coming up, and weight saving methods that hopefully you can use before you start your build or maybe during your build, to make sure that you don't fall into the trap of being overweight. So that's it. That's the real reason why, or 90% the reason why the refit's happening. Leave your comments below. Let me know if you've weighed yours or had a similar kind of issue. Yeah, and please join me because I'm doing the refit, literally. I'm going to walk out here and continue doing it. and I'm going to show you everything that I'm using. And I've also started weighing a few things, everything really. I've been weighing everything. I've even lost 12 kilos myself to try and keep the weight down. I've been weighing stuff, and you wouldn't believe sometimes how quick you can lose 10 kilos. So yes, join me next time.